Good evening, everyone. I'm honored to see so many people. Before I begin, I would like to read a prayer, what I call Black People's Liberation Prayer. And tomorrow we're going to be presented, or I don't know how many people saw the cover of the Newsweek magazine that said something like, "Forget the church, follow Jesus," and it had a white man. So this is my liberating prayer, Black people's prayer. Thou who art blacker than a trillion midnights, whose eyes shine brighter than a billion suns, thou whose hair doth coil tighter than a million springs, radiating all energies throughout the universe. We beseech thee, one and only one, to give us total strength to carry out thy will for the universe, to establish justice on planet Earth and live in peace. We are going to talk this evening with a focus on Black male-female relationships. And I was deeply, deeply honored when I was signing the books. A couple came and said that I had saved their marriage. Wow. When they heard me say that Black men and Black women, if they focus on the problem of racism, white supremacy, it will save the marriage.
Dr. Frances Cress Welsing begins her lecture by centering the discussion on the Black male-female relationship, stressing that true liberation for Black people cannot be achieved without addressing the issue of white supremacy. She explains that the root of the problem within Black relationships is not individual shortcomings, but the deliberate design of systematic racism. According to Dr. Welsing, the key to saving more Black relationships lies in understanding and eradicating the system of white supremacy. She asserts that white supremacy will not end without a true comprehension of its motivation, which is grounded in the fear of genetic annihilation. Because white people are a global minority, they constructed systems of domination to maintain power over people of color. This reality shapes how Black men and women interact with one another. Dr. Welsing emphasizes that the system of white supremacy affects every area of human activity, but politics and sex are especially critical to how Black men and women relate to one another. Politics determine power dynamics in a larger society, while sex and intimacy dictate how these dynamics manifest within personal relationships. She explains that the unresolved trauma from slavery, combined with the continued effects of systematic racism, creates distrust, conflict, and disunity between Black men and Black women. Instead of recognizing the external root of these issues, too many Black couples internalize the pain and misdirect it towards each other. The cycle of conflict, according to Dr. Welsing, weakens the Black family and sustains the dominance of white supremacy.
Because that is a force that they have in common, whether we think about it that way or not. Now, I have been talking about racism, white supremacy for 42 years. Now, I never thought that I would be focusing on a topic for that long. And when I first started talking, I thought, well, our problems as Black people are going to be solved in a short period of time. But that's not the way things work, apparently. And you learn as you live. Now, we are in the midst of some very interesting times when we are experiencing the Trayvon Martin event. We are a few days away from the 44th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King's assassination. And these events tell us that the problem of racism, white supremacy is still with us. Now, many times we try to forget about it and believe that, well, it's gone and we're post-racial. We have a black president, and we're post-racial. But we are not post-racial. And anyone who feels moved by what has happened to the Martin family and what happened to Trayvon needs to dedicate him or herself to an in-depth understanding of racism, white supremacy, and that goes for all of the young men who have been killed. And it's our duty and our responsibility to understand why this is happening. You see, it is happening for a reason. And in medicine, we look for causes. In science, we look for, it's not just the event, but what is causing the events to take place. Because when you understand why something is happening and what is causing events to take place, then you are in a position beyond just complaining. Now, I bought me a hoodie. I bought me a little hoodie that was on sale. But that's just like a surface sign. We have to go beyond the hoodies and understand why this particular thing is happening and why all of the things that black people are experiencing are happening to us. And to do that, we have to get into an understanding of this dynamic of racism, white supremacy. I hope I got a chalk thing that works. See, we all have to understand that we're dealing with a system. Can you see this? No. Oh, I'm with this. We're dealing with a total system structure. And so the question is, what is that system all about? Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, the famous black sociologist and historian, in 1903 said, the problem of the 20th century is the question of the color line. Right. Now that was one way of talking about racism, white supremacy. But if we respect ourselves as black people, we have to respect what are our people saying about the problem. So that was 1903, 109 years ago. Then mid-century, the important thinker and writer Neely Fuller Jr., I hope everybody is familiar with his work. And Neely Fuller came along and said, the system is racism, white supremacy. Du Bois called it the color line. Neely Fuller said it's racism, white supremacy. And he said it functions in all areas of people activity. And I want everybody to understand this when they leave. He said the system functions where? In economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. See, religion, that's why you got a white image of God.
That's where you got the image.
You see, so that if we're people of color, we're worshiping the people that oppress us. But he said it's a whole system, and Neely Fuller helped me understand it's a system. And so as a psychiatrist, I said, well, why? Why would people set up a system like this on planet Earth? Why? See, like little children, 2 years old, they know how to start saying, why? Why? See, if people tell them to shut up, don't tell them to shut up. You might have to say, I don't know why. I don't know the answer, but the child is looking for cause and effect. They're looking to understand this world that they have been born into. So I said, why would a system of racism, white supremacy, be set up on planet Earth? Here's our planet. And I just thought about, by the time you go to medical school and train in psychiatry, you've been in school a long time. In the course of being in school a long time, one of the things that I learned was that people who have white skin are a tiny minority.
That's right.
Now, they call themselves majority and train us to call ourselves minorities. But that was a big deception.
Yes.
The people of color, the non-white people, are 9/10 majority on the planet.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, another deception was they told us that we were genetically inferior.
Right.
But being trained in their medical schools and knowing about genetics, we are genetically dominant.
That's right.
See, that's why under white supremacy and under the brainwashing, even black people learn how to say, don't marry anybody darker than yourself. Because that dark is powerful. That's melanin pigment. And if you need to think about an example, just focus on President Barack Obama. His mother was white. His father was a black man. There's no way in the world that that would have produced, those two people coming together, could no way produce white, which is a genetic recessive trait. Black is a genetically dominant trait. And the darker you are, the more genetic power you have to produce this pigment. So the next thing we were taught, if you're black with a whole lot, get back. A little bit less if you're brown, stick around. If you're yellow, you're mellow. And if you're white, no pigment, you're all right. Now see, black people and people of color all over the world, I can go to London, England and say this and everybody knows. If you're black, get back, brown, stick around, yellow, mellow, white, right. Because under white domination and under white supremacy, they taught us this by their behavior towards us.
Yes.
And programmed us to behave in that way in relationship to each other. And to begin to worship the fact that the grandmothers were raped. Are you all with me? Now, this is not for anybody to feel bad, but all of this instruction is based on maintaining this system of racism, white supremacy. And we need to understand that if I had Oprah Winfrey's money, I would get all of the crystal black people. And every year there would be a parade of the blackest people parading their beauty. Dumping the hole in the visual head of racism, white supremacy, because we have little children. I don't know what CNN and Anderson Cooper and the whole program's about race, but they have little white children at age 3 looking at a strip of faces of different colors. And when asked which child is bad, and a 3-year-old white child points immediately to the darkest face. Which one is ugly? The child points immediately. Which one is the one you don't want to be friends with? Points immediately to black. And the great tragedy is that when they ask little black children, little beautiful black children, they're doing the exact same thing. Which one is ugly? Now the black child hesitates, but then points to the darkest color. Which one is dumb? Which one is bad? Which one is ugly? And one little black child said, the color is nasty.
Wow.
Now see, we can't blame the children. Where do the children learn? The children learn when they turn on TV. They learn in the homes. They learn at any book that they look at. They learn the lesson of racism, white supremacy, just like they learn English if that's spoken, or French if that's spoken, or whatever other language. They learn it. These colors lined up and spoken of in this way are essential for white genetic survival. See, in other words, destroy the black. If you look at the people who are incarcerated, they're people at the darker end of the spectrum. Now, this is critical. We can't have mental health unless we understand this. But do you think that anybody in psychiatry, the American Psychiatric Association, do you think they're teaching this? Absolutely no. If anything, they will say it's no such thing as racism. See, the denial of racism is essential to the survival of racism. The denial of racism on the part of people who classify themselves as white, and the denial of racism on the part of people who are non-white all over this planet. The 9/10 global majority of non-white people are all trying to, many are trying to bleach their skin, trying to make themselves white. I have a sister who teaches in a school in Chicago, and she says, a little child, I'm not black, I'm mixed race. See, where did the child learn it? The child is not at fault. Where did the child learn it? We're the only group of people when we have to fill out the census. It takes us about an hour. Which now the white people just quickly white out. We have to labor. Oh, I think I have a German relative. I think I got a Spanish, or I'm not really all black. Brother Henry Louis Gates.
Oh, yes.
I got to out him because he's busy talking about, I'm mostly European. But how does this affect the black male-female relationship?
Devastation.
It affects the relationship in this way. This whole system of racism, the goal objective is white genetic survival on this planet. White genetic survival. Now, a lot of people say, oh, no, it's all about economics. No, they use these areas of activity to make certain that there's white genetic survival. They make the money and use the money and dispense the money for the purpose of the system. The same is the distribution of education for the maintenance of the system of their survival. All over Europe today, when they talk about Islam and checkmating immigration, they are really talking about the flood of non-white people coming into Europe from Africa and causing what? White genetic annihilation. You see, now mind you, they say they're going to do something about it. And how many people remember the case of the Norwegian man who killed nearly 70 people? And these were children of African and Asian ancestry who were in Norway, and he killed them because they were causing potentially white genetic annihilation. Now, they gave him a pass and said he had psychological problems. But he planned it well. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he carried it out. I say he wasn't mentally ill. He was engaging in white genetic survival by whatever necessary means. See, I say that standing your ground.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's another one.
Standing your ground, that means that, see, don't any black person attempt standing your ground. Now, black people can engage in standing their ground when they are killing other black people.
Yeah.
Because that is assisting white genetic survival by the destruction of black men.
That's right.
So you can get a pass with that. But don't start thinking you're afraid of a police officer and you're going to stand your ground. Do you see? Or that Trayvon could have stood his ground because he was afraid. No, those are the laws that are being put in place. It's just like when President Barack Obama became president. They had what they call the Obama effect. Now, the Obama effect was people buying more guns than had ever been bought at one time. Because just the very idea of a black man being in the White House was perceived as a threat. Just like the Republicans said. They didn't say we've got another plan to save the country. They said we have to make this black man fail. Our energy is going to be directed and focused on making him fail because he is a black man. Now let's go back about the relationship. Black females are not a threat to white genetic survival. Now, we have all the genetic material in our ovaries, but women can entice, but they cannot impose sexual intercourse. In other words, imagine you reaching and pulling out your M16 rifle and saying to the man, you are going to have sexual intercourse. Now, gentlemen, what will happen? See, that's just physiology 101. The erection cannot be maintained in the presence of fear. Now, the Creator made it that way so you won't have a conflict. If you get afraid, you've got to exit. So the focus is on the black male. In other words, racism, white supremacy attacks us as a total people for the purpose of white genetic survival. But the intense focus is on males because they can't impose sexual intercourse. Now, all the different colors that we come in, most black families don't have two people that are the same color. Everybody's a different shade, and then that causes warfare in the family. Who's lightest? Who looks the most white? Speaking from my own family situation. Everybody has color shade conflict. And it's not only in this area of the world, it's all over South America, all over Central America, all over India.
Everywhere.
See, who's dark and who's not dark? Who looks most white? And fight amongst yourselves. It's called divide and conquer. But all of those colors are because of the activity of white male oppressors and white slave masters. You see, it wasn't Sally Hemings in love with Thomas Jefferson. See, let's get that straight. See, that would be an absolute insult, talking about the slave loves the master when the master won't free the slaves or the slaves' children. That's a fantasy. No, there was non-stop rape and sexual abuse on the plantations. See, I heard a white female talking about the plantation in her family, and she was saying that the slave masters would have relationships with the African women to make more slaves. Well, I guess that's part of it, aside from maybe whatever they might have enjoyed. But let's look at how this plays out. You see, because the system of racism is saying, and this is where I went in the ISIS papers into a discussion of the phrase motherfucker. See, this is a phrase that used to be said over and over again in the system of racism, white supremacy amongst black people. I remember coming out of a clinic in Washington, D.C., and I'm coming down the stairs and some young people were passing. And the young people were, motherfucker, this motherfucker, motherfucker, motherfucker. So I said to myself, my first thought was, why are the children talking like this? My second thought was, any phrase that is used with high frequency must have significance.
Yes.
Now, because I understood at that point the system of racism, white supremacy, I said, this language is specific to this system. Now, what does it mean? And then my brain computer just went through, well, there are 5 people categories: man, woman, boy, girl, baby. That covers everybody. Who is the man? If I said, here comes a man you are, my dad was alive, you wouldn't expect to see him. Who is the man? Speak up, class. That means the only man on the scene. Any other male has 4 choices: woman, boy, girl, baby. Some time ago, woman and girl was out. Some time ago. I'll try to use this. Okay, I said woman and girl was out. Black men died, many of them. Don't call me no boy. So the white people said, fine, you got 2 choices. I mean, you got 1 choice left. Baby. Are you all with me?
Yeah.
Come on, because we're getting free. Black men call a woman they sleep with mama. How many, you know, have heard that? Hey, mama, can I ride with you? Calls a place where he sleeps a crib. Are you up with me? Man who calls another man the man calls a woman he sleeps with mama. Calls a place where he sleeps a crib. Calls himself baby. will call himself a motherfucker.
Wow.
Now, don't get upset. See, in other words, we have to cease deceiving ourselves. We are living in a system of oppression. That's why things are falling all apart. That's why they can tell us that 70% of our households are single-parent households. Why? Because the system is making something happen. See, the system is making something happen, but the system says it is a democracy. Well, that's a hypocrisy. The system is racism, white supremacy that is perfected, not democracy with imperfections. See, this is why we are confused and why we greet each other all the time by saying, what's happening? Hey, what's happening? What's happening? Do you know what's happening? Hey, what's happening? A million times a day, what's happening? What's happening? Because we are into a deception and we don't understand what's going on. Well, we have to begin to understand exactly and specifically what is happening.
She further argues that one of the deepest psychological wounds caused by racism is self-hatred. If black people do not love themselves, they cannot truly love one another. Media, educational systems, and broader social structures reinforce the belief that blackness is inferior. These constant reinforcements seep into the psyche, shaping how black people view themselves and their partners. In this way, white supremacy doesn't just manifest externally, it becomes internalized within the black mind, fueling the very division that keeps the system alive. This is why black love, self-love, and the restoration of healthy black relationships are revolutionary acts. Dr. Welsing also highlights the deliberate denial of racism by white people, which she identifies as a tactic to ensure its survival. By claiming racism does not exist, white society gaslights black people into doubting their own experiences. This denial places black people at a disadvantage, especially when trying to identify and dismantle the systems harming their relationships. As long as black people are convinced that their issues are solely personal or cultural, they will overlook the deeper systematic forces at play. Consequently, fractured black relationships serve the interests of white supremacy, ensuring that black family remains disunited and weak. In conclusion, Dr. Welsing explains that black love is a direct threat to the system of white supremacy because a united black family represents strength, continuity, and resistance. The black family must be separated for white supremacy to survive, which is why so much effort has been put into dividing black men and women. If black men and women commit to loving themselves and each other while consciously working to eradicate white supremacy, they will not only save their relationships, but also undermine the very system designed to destroy them. Thus, black love is not just emotional or personal. It is a revolutionary weapon against oppression.